Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dr. Doujinshi, and welcome back to another episode of Hentai Reviews, the only series where we truly believe in a lot of different things. Number one, starting the year off right. Number two, we'll figure that out in the middle of the year. That being said, today we're going to be reviewing episode 2 of a series that was pretty much recommended solely by one person. That person being well, and I mean very well thanked for his contribution. Solid member of the community, and I thank you every bit. Everybody who doesn't recommend stuff, I know you're just as weird as I am. You've got recommendations in there, and if you want to keep them to yourself, it's completely fine. That being said, today we're going to be reviewing episode 2 of Kanojo x Kanojo x Kanojo. Episode 2. That little ditty being done by our friends over at MS Pictures, running at a total of 20 different categories, notable of which are the job fair of sorts, hands, feet, breasticles, a lovely filling of cream, and possibly my favorite genre, harems. More the merrier, but sometimes a lot of people can't perform with a group. That being said, when you can, chef's kiss. And it also runs at about 29 minutes and 57 seconds long, that being pretty much about as long as an afternoon special of a TV show that usually runs at its regular 22 minutes. That being said, let's go ahead and just, jump into it, shall we? You see, this episode starts off with the main character on a secluded beach. Yeah, didn't think a beach episode was coming up this soon now, did you? Episode 2. Starting off strong. Him and the main girl, the average sister. The real one that everybody feels like is the main girl, so to say. You see, she and him are in this secluded area, pretty much immediately getting it on from the start of the episode in a secluded section of the beach. That being said, it goes from that starts out at scene number 1. See, scene number 1 starts at 0 minutes and 50 seconds and goes all the way to 1 minute and 55 seconds. Minute and 5 seconds, not completely bad, but also it was all just a dream, as the series itself wraps up. Up from that dream. You see, he's awoken at that moment, particularly by the comedic relief introduced in this episode in particular. Now, you see, I would give the guy a name, as I did write it down on the script. That being said, he contributes absolutely fucking nothing to the entire episode as a whole, so I will be omitting him from the series. Yes, comedic relief can be used in proper ways, Avatar: The Last Airbender for its own existence. Sokka, comedic relief, amazing character. That being said, this is not one of those amazing characters. This is the guy that shows up, does a little bit of that pervy, zooms in with camcorder, zooms out, and then gets punched in the face because you don't go around filming people. It's rude. Unless, you're a cop. Then if you're not filming somebody, I'm going to keep an eye on you. That being said, I'm going to omit him completely because comedic relief characters in hentai are not exactly great, or at least well done. If he got naked at any point, I would notice him. That being said, he doesn't. So at this time, he's kind of just over there in the school thinking, what's going on? To which case he then comes home to find his 3 different girls that he all lives with. And sadly enough, right next to their ice cream store is another large chain ice cream store being opened right next to theirs. How tragic! This hasn't happened since Manakitsu happening after the 2nd and 3rd episode, I believe. I think it started in... No, it was 3 and 4. I think the 2nd episode is kind of where it started, but I don't remember completely. That being said, unfortunately, this is a problem for the main characters. And as he's asking around for solutions, his brainstorming doesn't get him anywhere. As he heads back to school, and then he ends up bumping into a certain character named Hinohara, who bumps into him, and actually she's been staring at him pretty much the entire episode as of now. That being said, once she bumps into him, something slips out of her. Something a little shaped like an egg, with a wire going to something that is definitely an on-off switch to something that vibrates. Yes, exactly what you think, in the middle of a school. So tasteful, and so timing appropriate. You see, during this, she's like, oh no, and then grabs him because he's the only one that saw, and then takes him straight into the bathroom. Love of what I've likely said is a school, and it is not very well ventilated when it comes to sound and soundproofing technology. So guess who hears it? Absolutely fucking everybody in a Japanese school. Very stealthy. Everybody knows what's going on. Afterwards, that leads into scene number 2. You see, scene number 2 starts at 5 minutes in and goes all the way to 6 minutes and 25 seconds. minute and 25 seconds, a little bit longer. Not bad. Definitely I like the way the girl is designed, and it's definitely a little bit of a step up. That being said, after this session itself, he actually tries to like brainstorm more things that are going on. Like, what the hell am I doing? What we need to like figure out how we're going to save this business. It's the only thing that's keeping everything afloat other than the money that the parents left behind before they died, but that's a whole nother story in into itself. You see, he's brainstorming just in his room. Like, what do I do? What do I do? What could possibly be done? To which case it literally falls out of the ceiling and lands on him. A whole bunch of different books with a bunch of different ideas meant for business-related associates that could also lead to better, just all-around customer service. And maybe also money handling. That being said, it literally falls out of the ceiling and goes on to him. To which case he's like, what the fuck? So he wakes up the next morning and goes straight back to school, as people of this age do. 18-year-olds, that being said. As I've stated before, everybody in hentai is at least 18 years or above. I do not take criticism on this, and I will not take criticism on this. If they're in there, they're legal. That being said, afterwards, he heads back to school only to be realized that, oh no, I've got an injury of some sort. Better go on up to the nurse's office, and after he heads up to that nurse's office, guess who's in there? Not the nurse, but a bed taken and a bed empty. So naturally, he goes up to the curtain and says, well, who's in here? Only to find out that it's Hinahara herself, who's just out there, just sleeping in this place, secluded by herself, giant rubber penis sitting right next to her. Now you're wondering why that's with her? Well, some people need a silent place to go around and just get off. Now, you know what people should do? Go home or find a bathroom that nobody uses. But no, go straight to the nurse's office. Definitely not a trafficked place like that in school systems. So she goes in there and is pretty much just asleep by the time he gets there. He gets there and is like, what's going on? Picks up her thing. What is this? So, floppy. To which case, the student representative actually walks in and is like, what the fuck is going on? And he's like, I swear to God, this isn't mine. I make sure mine are clean before I bring them to school. That being said, she's like, kinky. And then seduces him. As you do. And in the middle of a school, nobody in here has any silent training whatsoever. There are screams and moans fucking everywhere. In front of my salad. That being said, it essentially leads into scene number 3, which goes from 10 minutes and 30 seconds. It goes all the way to 13 minutes and 45 seconds. 3 minutes and 15 seconds. Definitely the longest one so far. That is not what he said. Yes. That being said, after that, he's like, well, that was fucking weird. I guess I'm gonna go home now. To which case he comes home to Mafuyu, who is like, I may be short, but I am Dami Mommy today. In which case he's like, oh, yeah. And then that leads into scene number 4. Scene number 4 runs from 15 minutes and 15 seconds and goes all the way to 19 minutes and 35 seconds. 4 minutes and 20 seconds? Nice. I didn't even plan that one out ahead of time, and I didn't do the math. That actually just turned out to be nice. That being said, afterwards, he finally comes up with the brainstorming solution of a century. How are we going to get more people to show up to this entirely open place that could definitely bring in more customers and, in fact, cause them to buy even more? Now, you know what sells? Sex. You know what sells even better? Maid uniforms. 300 subs, I will do maid week. Yeah, it's exactly what you think. Dress up like a maid, keep talking about anime titties. That being said, after they're all dressed up in maid outfits, they're like, this isn't working. Discounts! Discounts out the ass. To which case, they all show up, start buying everything out, and they sell out almost in the middle, almost immediately. Pretty much at the end of the day, they're like, well, inventory's gone. Guess we gotta go through the books and see if we broke even. To which case, they did way better than expected, and then main character and Akina, I remembered her name 3,000 times before I did this filming. That being said, brain no work good. And then him and Akina are like, well, you got the maid outfit on. She's like, I do in fact have the maid outfit on. He's like, what can you do? And she was like, we could do something naughty. And he's like, yeah, I need the dust swept off my room. To which case she's like, yeah, but first let's have sex. And he's like, all right, I guess we can do that ahead. To which case they end up immediately going into scene number 5. You see, scene number 5 goes from 23 minutes and 45 seconds. It goes all the way to 28 minutes and 20 seconds. 4 minutes and 35 seconds. Just barely getting above the number. And as I can say, it's no 420 minutes. So how sad. And afterwards, there's this whole thing where it's like, oh, I love being with you. To which case all the other family members walk in. They're like, but what about with us? To which case the episode ends. And I cannot safely say that this was anything bad, anything amazing. But damn, this was a B. This was a B. So let's go ahead and get into that. You see, let's go ahead and talk about the animation. Animation? Definitely a step down from the original. I'm not going to say the original was anything mind-breaking or mind-blowing, how I say. It doesn't blow your mind. It doesn't get on its knees, put it in its mouth, and say, I'm going to blow your mind. It doesn't do anything like that. You see, what it does is competent animation along with certain moments that are a little bit more detailed than the average bear. That being said, it's nothing groundbreaking, like it's no Amber Hunters or anything like that, and it's no Overflow. It is just competent, and it is well done. So I'm going to go ahead and give the animation a solid 7 out of 10. That being said, let's go ahead and move on to characters and story. Now, when it comes to characters and story, I can't safely say that this is anything bad either. The characters are distinct, the 5 of them that are in this series. 5, not counting comic relief. 5, not 6. That being said, of all the characters here, they did add personality to them. Mafuyu was, goth lolly that everybody loves seeing around there, and she kind of digs up her own fetish in being the dominant person in the room. Akina, who is also the, best, quote unquote, best girl of the whole thing, or at least main girl, because I ain't calling her main girl. MILF sister is best girl. I do not take criticism on that. If there's one thing I want in a woman, which is very few things because I am into men. That being said, though, she can crush my head between her thighs or has abs I can fry eggs on. I'm returning my gay card for a minute. But unfortunately, we don't get a lot of use out of her, so we have to switch it up. To which case, it leads into a 7 out of 10 throughout this whole thing. There is a background plot going on. It's not the main focus of the whole thing, because obviously in a hentai, the sex is kind of the main thing. But there's not really... the only way that I'd say that there are high-level amounts of, actual plot going on is if the sex is relevant to the plot itself. This is just how are we going to make our business stand out amongst the corporate millions? And then they're just banging in the background. That really doesn't solve anything, but it always usually helps if they're intertwined. But there is a sense of actual story going on in the background, and the characters are defined. So 7 out of 10 once again for their characters. Now let's get into what we're all really here for, the plot. Now you see the plot itself. Numerous, so that's 5. All of them together. 5 scenes, 5 really damn good scenes. Along with that, it's a little bit of variety when it comes to them. Now, there is 20 categories. I feel like not all of them were used to the full extent of what they were given. That being said, there are a competent amount of these used, whether it be for a small amount of time, but I think the standout scene of this whole thing was scene number 3. Scene number 3 was a standout one, where they were in the nurse's office, because that felt a little bit out of place, but it also felt like it's necessary to expand the groupings of what's there. So the plot itself is hot and numerous, but it doesn't utilize the tags that it has. When you have a bucket full of popcorn, eating only the top layer and then cherry picking the bottom ones isn't really how you get the best flavor. Everybody knows the best popcorn is the ones at the bottom that have that butter that's dried into them. But unfortunately, this was the top layer that looked good, and then cherry pick small ones from the bottom. You got to take the handfuls to really appreciate the amount of food that you got. So the plot itself, unsurprisingly enough, along with its brothers, is the 7 out of 10. Leading up to the official score of the entire thing, this is my opinion, and yours is capable of being different. I do not mind. As a matter of fact, I enjoy criticism, and I enjoy your views on this whole thing. I'm merely stating mine because I believe that my opinion is something that a lot of people would like to see, because I'm a narcissist. That being said, I'm also in front of a camera with a whole bunch of equipment that cost me more than at least $400 to have. That being said, that's not a very large amount, but I am looking to expand the budget. So, the overall score for this, 7 out of 10. Couldn't say that it was bad, couldn't say that it was amazing, but I could definitely say that it was good. This is a B, and it is a good B. Like, this is the B of Bs. Like, you passed, and you did a really good job in a few different portions of it. But unfortunately, you didn't pass with flying colors. If you got an A, might have been around an 8 or a 9. But S is only for 10 out of 10s, and I don't give a lot of those out. Now, that being said, I would highly recommend this. If you like the first episode, this is definitely a worthy successor to it. 7 out of 10 may not sound worthy, but hey, if you're surrounded by nothing but Primaris Marines, you might as well have a classic Space Marine behind you. That being said, let's go ahead and end it there. Yeah, a little bit of a weird one. Not necessarily a weird one, but this was definitely a review for, well, the first video of the new year. And I'm proud to say I'm actually going to start trying a little bit harder. Now, I wouldn't necessarily say it's all going to jump forward in one go, but with budget and time, and actually a decent job that can help pay for a lot of those things, I am happy to say that I am moving forward. And I can also say that moving forward is something that I've always wanted to do. So let's go ahead and kick forward in that. Now, I may not look it, I may only have the jacket, and that may be the last of it, but I am still the doctor, and maybe I might start branching out into stuff that also includes NSFW, but not just solely hentai reviews. Because at a certain point, being pigeonholed doesn't really help. That being said, these reviews ain't going anywhere. There's still shit out there that I haven't seen. You gotta explore the ocean before you can say that you're a sailor. So, let's go ahead and see if we can push outside of the pond. As that, I'm gonna go ahead and end it there. So, let's go ahead and end it. I've been the Doctor. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, everybody. Let's enjoy the New Year's together. And have a great time. So, have a nice day. Don't be a dick. There's too many of them. And wash your fucking hands. I've been the Doctor. Now I'm going to go do my civic duty and finish watching Cowboy Bebop for the first fucking time. Yes, it took me a long time. So until next time, peace out.